What's up, Facebook? Joe Bernstein here for you today. And I've been thinking, which is always trouble, but it also means I've got something to share with you. So I want to tell you how I used to be a trash can. In fact, I was pretty much like a dumpster fire back in the day. Now, I love the version of me from back in the day. He was a wise, brilliant person, did everything he needed to do to survive and to connect with others and get his needs met. But at the end of the day, it led him to being a bit of a dumpster fire. As you know, I was 340 pounds. I was in a career that I enjoyed, but part of that enjoyment was me telling myself it was the best I could ever have. And I was in a marriage that was completely toxic and broken and co-abusive. And frankly, I thought that was the best I could ever get. So I was stuck there. So I was a little bit of a dumpster fire or a trash can. But many of us are a trash can, right? Now, when I say a trash can, what I'm thinking about is not that you're a bad person, not that you're worthless, not that you stink, but what you do with negative thoughts is you just throw them in a trash can. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is you complain. You put your complaints out there in the world. When we complain, we generate negativity. So I want you to think about any time that you have a negative thought in your life or a negative experience, and you just complain about it and don't do anything about it, that you're actually just like putting a piece in a trash can. You're putting a piece of your spirit, your soul, your mind, your life in the trash can. Well, what happens in a trash can? Trash accumulates. The stench starts to grow. It doesn't decompose. For the most part, it just kind of sits there and becomes more trash. It fills up landfills in our lives and landfills in our hearts and the landscapes of our relationships and our careers and our bodies. So when we just complain about the challenges that we have in this life, and we just focus on what's wrong, and then we spread that trash to others, it literally just builds up over time and it stinks and it pollutes the world. It pollutes your environment. But think about a compost bin for a second. What does a compost bin do? Sure, it might not smell great either, but a compost bin is taking organic matter. It's taking things that we would normally throw into a trash can, that we would normally just consider waste, and turning it over time into fuel that creates regenerativity that allows you to then plant more food in your life or more plants in your life, and it allows natural life to grow. It allows you to fill your garden of growth, and your garden could be your career, your relationships, your garden could be your personal health. But at the end of the day, compost is something that is good for the planet, it's good for your pocketbook, it's good for the world in so many ways. But what you do with your trash, what you do with your negative thoughts, what you do with the things that don't go your way in this world, that makes a difference in this life. Not just for you, but for the people around you. So when you complain about it, you're throwing it in the trash can, or you're becoming a living version of a trash can in many ways. But when you actually do something positive about it, you turn it into compost and you create something generative. So I want to tell you about how I do this in my life. Now, back in the day, I used to be a complaining machine. Now, sometimes it wasn't an outright complaint. Sometimes it was just negativity. It was telling myself how I can't do something, how I can't be something, how I don't have the resources, how everyone else is out there in the world to attack me, or everyone else is out there in the world and has more opportunity than I do, or has more time, or their body's naturally better at this, that, or the other thing. Always making up excuses. And this used to be the kind of guy I was. I had a million reasons why something wouldn't work. I had a million reasons why I couldn't go create a life that I wanted, why I couldn't have a better relationship, why I couldn't have a better career, why I could never lose the weight and I could never live a healthy lifestyle. I had all the reasons in the world. I could write books about them. So how did I start becoming more of the compost bin? How did I move from complaining to creating, right? So here's what I did, and here's what I do with my clients all the time. I had a client, we were working on this yesterday a little bit. So the first things first is when you're in the moment of wanting to complain, accept it. Understand that complaining is something that you've been taught to do because you've been taught that you don't have a lot of options, that you're powerless to actually change your circumstances. Now, why the world has taught you that's a whole other story. I won't get into that right now, but you've been taught that what you do with a negative experience or a negative thought is that you complain. And in some ways, complaining serves a purpose for connection. One of the ways human beings connect is that we share experience of challenge, right? That's actually how you build tribe. So complaining is not all bad, but it doesn't get you the life that you want. So you've learned to complain. So first things first, accept the fact that you've complained. Accept that as a strategy for your life. But the next thing I want you to do is I actually want you to learn to reframe the challenge. And then I want you to take responsibility. So how do you reframe? Well, let's say that your boss just came in and gave you extra work and didn't give you the resources that you need. So naturally what you want to do is you want to text your boyfriend, you want to text your girlfriend, you want to go to the person in the cubicle next to you and you want to complain. You want to say, he's so out of touch, he doesn't know what my workload is like. He doesn't understand the problems that we're solving. There's all these reasons to complain. I already have too much on my plate. These people are crazy. They expect me to do X by Thursday. No, none of that's going to get done because they put this fire on my plate and they want me to do more. So naturally you'd complain. But instead I want you to reframe. And the way you reframe is you ask this question. How is this a challenge that's actually going to help me become my best self? This is really a question about integrity. How is this a challenge that's going to help me become my best self? So something needs to happen. Either you need to learn to speak up to your boss and tell them that you do not have the resources, you do not have the bandwidth, and that you want to delegate it to someone else. Or you actually need to learn to grow your capacity, or you need to learn to work more efficiently. This is a challenge that's put in your world so you can actually grow in some way. You want to grow your capacity. So how can this help you become your best self? How can you become more efficient, more powerful, more resourceful, more creative because of this challenge? So you want to reframe. So move from complain to reframe. Second, once you've identified how it can make you the best version of yourself, you want to take responsibility. So what does responsibility look like? Now, responsibility is not about doing the right thing. It's not about obligation. Responsibility is awareness of your choice. So you get to choose your own adventure in this world. You can say yes, you can say no, you can renegotiate, you can come up with new options that are not even on the menu that's presented to you. So that's the next thing, is take responsibility. What do I want to do? What is my choice that I want to make around this particular challenge that I was complaining about and now I've reframed? What responsibility do I have in creating a better solution? What responsibility do I have on saying no to this, saying yes to this, or to trying something new? There's always a choice that takes you from powerless, which is what a complaining is, an expression of powerlessness, to creativity, to creating, to changing your life around you, to changing your circumstances, to generating something powerful. So what choice do I want to make? How responsible do I want to be for the outcomes of my life? Right? So that's what you got right there. So just for today, if you find yourself complaining, I'm going to ask you to reframe by asking this question. How can this particular experience help me become a better person? How can help me move towards my goals, move towards the things I want in this life? Next, take responsibility. What choice do I want to make about how I respond in this moment? That's what I got for you today. If this resonates, this idea of moving from a trash can to a compost bin resonates in any way, especially when it comes to complaining or negative thoughts or negative people in your life, I want you to go ahead and drop a GIF or an emoji or something in the comments below, because I want to see if this resonates. I'm testing out my content. I'm working really hard to figure out what resonates with people, what helps them out, what doesn't help them out, what's me just talking out of my ass, and what actually is of service to people in the world as I become better at creating content, which is something I'm committed to doing. So that's what I got for you. Drop an emoji if this resonates. If not, just leave it be or comment with what would have. Peace.